What if the next leader of 1.4 billion Catholics is about to make history? Could a single man, born in a humble town in the Philippines, become the first Asian pope to reshape the Catholic Church? You've probably wondered who'll guide the Church into its next chapter. Maybe you've prayed for a leader who embodies hope, compassion, or change. Or perhaps you're just curious about the mystery behind the Vatican's closed doors. Today, we're diving into the electrifying question shaking the Catholic world: why is Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle the frontrunner to become the next pope? Stick around, because one stunning detail about his journey will leave you speechless. Have you ever felt a spark of hope when someone unexpected rises to greatness? Or questioned how a global institution picks its leader? This video unpacks the clues, the stakes, and the divine whispers pointing to Tagle. By the end, you'll see why his name is buzzing worldwide, and why one hidden truth could change everything. Smash that like button if you're ready to uncover the future of the Catholic Church, and let's dive in. Let's start with a name, Luis Antonio Tagle. Or, as his friends call him, Cheeto. Picture a 67-year-old cardinal with a warm smile, a karaoke-loving heart, and a faith so deep it radiates. He's not your typical Vatican insider. Born in Imus, a small city south of Manila, Tagle grew up in a devout Catholic family, his mother of Chinese-Filipino descent. The Philippines, with over 80% of its 110 million people Catholic, is often called Asia's Catholic lung. But what makes this man stand out among 135 cardinals vying for the papacy? Here's the first clue: Tagle's life screams humility and connection. As a young priest, he wasn't chasing power. He served in local parishes, taught theology, and earned a reputation for being present, whether consoling a grieving family or cracking jokes to lighten the mood. But there's a twist. Despite his down-to-earth vibe, Tagle's intellect is razor-sharp. He studied in the U.S., earning a doctorate in theology, and his writings on faith and culture are studied worldwide. So, why does this blend of heart and mind matter? Because the Catholic Church is at a crossroads, and Tagle's unique mix could be the key to its future. But hold on, there's a bigger question looming. Can a man from Asia, a region with only 11% of the world's Catholics, really lead a church historically dominated by Europeans? That's where things get juicy. Comment below, do you think the next pope should come from outside Europe? If you followed Pope Francis's 12-year papacy, you know he shook things up. He championed the poor, embraced migrants, and called for a more inclusive church. Now, imagine a cardinal so aligned with Francis's vision that he's nicknamed the Asian Francis. That's Tagle. But what's driving this label, and why does it make him a papal frontrunner? Tagle's progressive streak is undeniable. In 2015, as Archbishop of Manila, he urged the Church to rethink its severe stance on gay people, divorcees, and single mothers. He didn't demand doctrinal change but asked for compassion, saying harsh words, brand people and push them away. Sound familiar? It's the same mercy-first approach Francis championed. Tagle's also tackled climate change, poverty, and evangelization, leading the Vatican's dicastery for evangelization since 2019. His global role shows he's not just a local hero, he's a heavy hitter on the world stage. Here's the kicker: Asia's Catholic population is skyrocketing. The Philippines alone has more Catholics than Italy, and countries like India and Vietnam are seeing surges. Tagle's Asian heritage makes him a symbol of this shift. If the Church wants to stay relevant, could Tagle be the bridge to its fastest-growing region? But wait, there's a catch. Some critics say he's too progressive. Will his views spark a backlash among conservative cardinals? We're about to dig into that tension, but first, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. You don't want to miss the next part, it's where things get heated. Picture this, May 7, 2025. The conclave begins. 135 cardinals, sealed in the Sistine Chapel, vote in secret to choose the next pope. Black smoke means no decision, white smoke signals a new pontiff. It's a sacred, high-stakes ritual, guided by the Holy Spirit, or so Catholics believe. But behind the pomp, there's a human reality, alliances, debates, and power plays. So, where does Tagle fit in this puzzle? Tagle's not just a candidate, he's a phenomenon. Betting markets, like Odds Checker, have him neck and neck with Vatican diplomat Pietro Parolin, with Tagle's odds recently hitting 4.00 to 1. Posts on X even claimed he overtook Parolin as the favorite on April 21, 2025. Why the hype? For one, Tagle's charisma. He's been called the karaoke cardinal for his love of music and humor, connecting with everyone from slum dwellers to world leaders. Plus, the Philippines has 5 cardinals in the conclave, a record. Could they rally behind Tagle as a bloc? But here's the cliffhanger, not everyone's on board. Some conservative cardinals, like Hungary's Peter Erdo, want a return to traditional doctrine. They see Tagle's progressive leanings as a risk. Others whisper he's too academic, not tough enough on issues like the Philippines drug war. Will these doubts derail his chances, or is there a secret advantage we haven't uncovered yet? We'll reveal that advantage in a moment, but first, let's make this interactive. Comment below, where are you watching from, and do you think Tagle's progressive views help or hurt his odds? The Catholic Church isn't what it used to be. For centuries, Europe was its heart, producing 213 of 266 popes. But today, only 25% of Catholics live in Europe. Latin America has 40%, Africa 18%, and Asia's share is climbing fast. This shift is why Tagle's candidacy isn't just exciting, it's historic. Could he be the first non-European pope since the Syrian Gregory III in 741? Tagle's rise reflects a broader trend. Pope Francis, the first Latin American pope, appointed 80% of the current voting cardinals, many from the global south. He lowered the conclave's average age and diversified its voices, making it less predictable. Tagle, at 67, is young enough to lead for decades, and his experience in Asia positions him to speak to the Church's future. But there's a deeper layer, his personal story. In a 2025 tribute to Francis, Tagle shared how the late Pope always asked, "How are your parents?" before any meeting. That small act of care shaped Tagle's own ministry. He's known for stopping to hug strangers, pray with the poor, and listen to the marginalized. This emotional intelligence could sway cardinals looking for a pastor, not just a politician. But here's the open loop we teased earlier, one hidden truth about Tagle's past could seal his fate. Back in the 1980s, when Tagle was a young seminarian, he faced a moment that nearly ended his journey to the priesthood. During a retreat, he confessed to his mentors a deep crisis of faith, not in God, but in himself. He questioned whether he was worthy to serve, haunted by the poverty and suffering he saw in the Philippines. His mentors urged him to quit, saying his doubts were a sign he wasn't cut out for the cloth. But Tagle did something extraordinary, he stayed. This moment wasn't just a personal victory, it shaped his entire ministry. Tagle's ability to wrestle with doubt and emerge stronger gave him a rare gift, empathy. He connects with the struggling, the questioning, the overlooked. Why does this matter? Because cardinals in the conclave aren't just picking a leader. They're choosing a shepherd for a world grappling with division, secularism, and pain. Could Tagle's vulnerability be the edge that sways their votes? But there's another layer to this truth. Tagle never hid his story. He's shared it in homilies, interviews, and even on X, where a post from March 2025 quoted him saying, "Faith grows through struggle, not perfection." This openness resonates with younger Catholics, especially in places like Brazil, with its 130 million faithful, where authenticity trumps polish. Smash that like button if Tagle's honesty inspires you, and let's keep going. Now that we've uncovered Tagle's hidden strength, let's step back into the conclave's smoke-filled drama. The year is 2025, and the cardinals are locked in, voting round after round. Tagle's name is on everyone's lips, but he's not alone. Who are the other contenders, and why might they challenge his rise? First, there's Pietro Parolin, the Vatican's Secretary of State. At 70, he's a diplomatic powerhouse, fluent in 5 languages, and a moderate who bridges the Church's progressive and conservative wings. His odds, per betting sites like Bet365, hover at 3.50 to 1, making him Tagle's biggest rival. Then there's Peter Erdo from Hungary, a conservative favorite who's vocal about defending traditional doctrine. His supporters want a course correction after Francis's reforms. Both men have experience, allies, and visions for the Church. So, what sets Tagle apart? Tagle's secret weapon is his global appeal. Unlike Parolin's buttoned-up style or Erdo's academic tone, Tagle's warmth and humor make him a rock star. In 2024, he drew 1.5 million people to a mass in Manila, more than some papal events. His YouTube talks rack up millions of views, and X posts from April 2025 called him the People's Cardinal. But here's the cliffhanger: will his popularity win over the cardinals, or will they see it as a liability? No conversation about Tagle is complete without Pope Francis. The first Latin American pope reshaped the Church, and his influence looms large over the Conclave. Francis appointed 80% of the voting cardinals, including Tagle, and his legacy is a battleground. Progressives want his reforms to continue, conservatives want a reset. Where does Tagle stand in this tug-of-war? Tagle is Francis's spiritual heir. Their bond goes beyond shared values. Francis hand-picked Tagle for key roles, like leading the dicastery for evangelization. In a 2025 interview, Tagle called Francis, "my guide and friend," choking up as he recalled their talks. This loyalty makes Tagle the torchbearer for Francis's vision, a church that's merciful, outward-looking, and rooted in the global South. But there's a catch: some cardinals worry Tagle is too tied to Francis. Could his closeness to the outgoing pope alienate swing voters? Here's where it gets wild. X posts from April 2025 suggest a Francis bloc of cardinals, mostly from Latin America and Asia, is rallying behind Tagle. With Brazil's 130 million Catholics and the Philippines' 90 million, these regions carry weight. If Tagle secures their votes, he could dominate early ballots. But there's a twist: a small group of cardinals is pushing a dark horse candidate from Africa. Who are they, and could they steal Tagle's thunder? We'll reveal that mystery soon, but first, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. You don't want to miss the conclusion, it's a game changer. And comment, do you think Tagle's tie to Francis helps or hurts his chances? Let's keep the debate going. Let's pull it all together. Why Luis Tagle? Why now? The Catholic Church faces challenges: declining attendance in Europe, scandals, and a world skeptical of organized religion. Tagle's not just a candidate, he's a movement. His humility, intellect, and global perspective make him the man for this moment. Let's break it down. First, charisma. Tagle's ability to connect is unmatched. Whether he's singing karaoke with teens or addressing the United Nations, he draws people in. Second, compassion. His work with the poor, from Manila's shantytowns to refugee camps, shows a heart aligned with Christ's teachings. Third, vision. Tagle's led efforts to evangelize Asia, where Catholicism is growing fastest. At 67, he's young enough to steer the Church for decades, bridging tradition and modernity. But it's not just about numbers. Tagle embodies hope. In a 2025 homily, he said, "The Church must be a home, not a fortress." That message resonates with Catholics in places like Nigeria, with 30 million faithful, and Indonesia, where faith thrives despite challenges. Could Tagle's leadership inspire a global revival? So, will Luis Antonio Tagle be the next pope? Let's make a bold prediction. The conclave is unpredictable, guided by prayer and politics. Parolin's diplomacy and Erdo's tradition are strong, and that African dark horse, rumored to be Ghana's Peter Turkson, could surprise everyone. But Tagle's momentum is undeniable. His odds, his allies, and his story point to one outcome: a historic papacy. Imagine it: the first Asian Pope, elected May 10, 2025, stepping onto the Vatican balcony to greet 1.4 billion Catholics. His first words, echoing Francis, "Pray for me." The Church would enter a new era, centered on inclusion, evangelization, and the global South. But here's the final open loop: if Tagle wins, what will his first act as Pope be? That's our story for today. Did Tagle's journey blow your mind? Smash that like button if you think he's the next Pope. Comment below, what would you want Tagle to do as Pope? And subscribe, ring the bell, and share this video with your friends. We're building a community to explore faith's biggest questions. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.